Here.
Todd Spaeth,
Here.
Cindy,
Here.
John,
Here.
Crystal,
Here.
Steve,
Here.
and Justin.
Here. We'll do Pledge of Allegiance. All right. Item number 2, approval of the April 16th, 2024 special council minutes.
This is Crystal. I'll move approval, please.
Sage, I'll second.
All right. Got a motion and a second. Any additions or corrections or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Item number 3, council announcements. Any member of the council have anything they'd like to bring up?
I just want to thank Trina and all the book volunteers and the board for a fabulous Ridges and Rivers Book Festival on Friday and Saturday. It was just so wonderful. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, Crystal. Anybody else? No? All right. Item number 4 would be the first period for public comment. Any member of the public wish to make a comment to
For
the
a
council?
fabulous
Now would be the time. Please come state your name, address, and try to keep your comments to about 3 minutes. Anybody online?
Got a couple folks online. If anybody would like to make a comment, they can do so at this time.
All right, hearing none, we will move on to item number 5 which is discussion with possible action on temporary beer and wine license for the Viroqua Area Pride event on June 22nd, 2024.
Okay, this is one that they did again last year, June 22nd from 11 a.m. to 6:30. This went before public safety last week, and nothing has changed with their event, so it does not need to come back to the city council for that. So public safety sent this forward with their approval.
So you want an approval?
So we need another approval here.
Okay.
This is Steve. I make the motion that we accept the beer and wine permit for the Pride Festival, June 22nd.
Cindy, I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Item number 6, discussion with possible action on temporary beer license for Driftless Music Festival event on July 13th, 2024.
Again, this one went to public safety last week for July 13th from noon until 9. This event, again, was one that's been happening for multiple years with no issues, and public safety sent it forward with their approval, hoping that you will approve as well.
This is Crystal. I'll move approval of the temporary beer license for Driftless Music Festival.
I'll second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, item number 7, discussion with possible action on temporary beer license for Live in Viroqua events on May 25th, June 8th, June 22nd, July 6th, July 20th, August 3rd, August 17th, August 31st of 2024.
Okay, this is actually 8 separate events, but they just did it all on one application with paying for each event separately. This is again the same event that was happening in the past on Court Street for Live in Viroqua. It would run from 5 to 9:30 p.m. on each of those dates that was listed. It went before public safety last week, and they gave their approval. And again, hoping that you will do the same.
I move approval for the temporary beer license for Live in Viroqua and all the posted dates on the.
Todd will second it.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, item number 8, discussion with possible action on WDRT Driftless Community Radio Block Party special event on July 27th, 2024.
I believe this was in everybody's packet. This is a new event, which is why you are all seeing it today. I believe the
the map was not included, or was it, Lori?
It was.
There we go. So will take place across the street from Western Technical College, in between sort of where Woolly Bear is and gosh, what's the one across the street? Is that not Schlick? WD Schlicks, right? So here's sort of the map right here. They've been working on this. They actually reached out probably a couple months ago at this point regarding the event, and so it has passed by all the department heads. So I know Public Works looked at it, as well as Chief Needfeld and Chief Burris, and I think Chad and Sarah didn't have any issues with it. Rick, I think we were waiting on for you to review the liquor license, but it seems like he doesn't have any issues with it either. Like I said, you just approve, or the next item will be to approve the the temporary beer license, but everything seems to be in order. Again, they're looking at, the biggest thing is they're looking at blocking off that one block of Carahune between Center and Main. So happy to answer any questions that I can, or if there's any questions that you have for the organizers. I don't know if, looks like Emily's here from WDRT, is that right? So if you have any questions for her, I'm sure she'd be happy to answer.
Any questions otherwise a motion to approve would be in order.
Cindy, I'll make a motion to approve WDRT event.
Steve, I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, item number 9, discussion with possible action on temporary beer license for WDRT Driftless Community Radio Block Party on July 27th, 2024.
Okay, as part of that event, they want to be able to sell beer, and this also went to public safety last week. It would be from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. on the July 27th date there. This was reviewed, everything by the police chief, and he feels that everything is in order. And it was forwarded by public safety with their approval. So if you guys so choose, you can approve it as well.
Thanks, Laurie.
Make a motion, we approve.
Steve, I'll second.
Got a motion by Cindy, second by Steve. All right, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, item number 10, update on former WPA bathhouse project.
So, Aaron, you're gonna sort of kick off here. Oh, Cindy, I didn't see you sneak around there. Just 1 second, I'll.
Okay, good evening. I'm Cindy Hubbard. If there's anybody here that doesn't know me, I'm on the Viroqua City Council. I'm also on the Viroqua Historic Preservation Commission and the WPA Building Task Force. And we have some members of the Viroqua Historic Preservation Commission here tonight. If you'd raise your hands, please. And then WPA Task Force members. Thank you. The task force and the HPC, along with the help of the community, has accomplished a great deal since we last updated the council. And we're excited to share these accomplishments with you tonight. You can go to the next slide. We envision the renovated and repurposed WPA bathhouse building to become the Viroqua Welcome Center. This Welcome Center will be a win-win-win for Viroqua. A win for our past because it honors those in the Great Depression who built it, those of us who used it, and it preserves an historic, irreplaceable building that's part of our history. It's a win for our present because it fills 4 needs that the city has right now. An information center. We're a tourist destination with no tourist information center. plus citizens. There's so much going on. It would be helpful to all of us living here to have a place to go where we could see what's going on. Trailhead, we sit in the middle of Vernon County, 50 plus miles of multi-use trails, plus snowmobile trails, plus probably off road ATV trails. If not yet, there probably will become some. And we need a central place where you can go and find out where all these trails are. This would be it. Downtown public restrooms. We do have no downtown public restrooms. When we have an event like Farmers Market or Live in Viroqua, it really becomes apparent they have to rent porta potties. And any day of the week, it would be nice to have downtown public restrooms. Meeting space, we can use more meeting space in Viroqua, especially the small one, that this would be kind of intimate for a birthday party, a business meeting, a club meeting. Especially it's going to have a terrace that goes out in the south end, so the party could go out with nice weather onto the grassy area there. So we believe anyway, this would be a win-win-win. So the next question is, you may say, okay, we need those 4 things, but why this building? The location, its ideal location, downtown Viroqua, just off Main Street. Chris Clemens of the Chamber says it's good that it's just off Main Street. That leaves more room for businesses to be on Main Street. It saved the city money. Demolition and new buildings cost a lot of money, as we certainly have learned recently. And a new building will last, 40, 50 years. This building will last, according to Mark Zettler, the preservation architect, many decades, possibly centuries. And you don't have to tear it down and move the stuff away. And a big thing is it contributes to our community's unique character, thus economic development. People come to town for an event and then they see, wow, this town is unique. It's got something different. All these old buildings that are here really gives the town a unique character. They tend to stay longer. They tend to come back just to see the town, not necessarily an event. Another thing is called heritage tourism, where tourists actually just seek out historic sites and buildings. And the WPA building would definitely fill that bill. They visit longer and spend more money also. So a city that embraces its historic and architectural resources is investing in its economy. Our Welcome Center, along with the historic Temple Theater and the Hotel Fortney, are doing just that. Now Karen's going to elaborate on how the Welcome Center is going to, more on how it's a win in the present.
Hi, this is Karen Innes. I'm a longtime transplant resident of Viroqua area, 33 years here, loving it. It's home to me now. And I love being involved in a lot of the projects, have been involved in a lot of projects over the years, but this one is a particularly exciting one to me because of my experience as a kid traveling around the country with my folks in the summer. And when we would go to a new place, we always were looking for that place where we could find out about a community. This building, this place, the idea for this being a welcome center really offers, it's the place to showcase everything that Viroqua area has to offer. Not just 1, 2, 3, 4 opportunities, but everyone can participate in some form. For economic development opportunities, there are people coming in all the time, both locally and visitors who are looking for potential business opportunities, for investment opportunities, housing, employment, those things. This is a place where everything about Viroqua can be showcased. Access to information from organizations, clubs, people who are interested in similar things can find each other through listings that might be displayed there. Where to find the fishermen, where to find the trails, where to find the organizations that get together that you're interested in. So goods and services from businesses can be showcased there. I see it as a directory, a place where a directory for all that we offer is available to anyone who comes in. Again, Cindy mentioned the meeting spaces. It's a small, intimate space, different types of opportunities. That there are often small groups who want to get together and don't want to rent a great big hall And this is a convenient spot. It can be overflow for library classes. It could be older folks who come and want to just get together once a week and play cards if they want to rent the space. So those kinds of opportunities, again, the public services such as restrooms, drinking fountains, fill your water bottle, pump up your bike tire, those kinds of things say something about the way we take care of our own and how we offer visitors that experience. It says something about our community. Again, the trailheads Cindy mentioned really can offer the posted maps, screens that people can scan. A lot of times folks are saying, well, everything's on the internet now. Granted, a lot of people can find all these resources on their phone or on the computer, but we, with a face, public faces, make a huge difference in how we interact with people visiting the community. It's great to have an entity where they can walk in and see somebody who's, yeah, my favorite place is there, or I'm a member of this club. I can tell you more personally about us. So that's what it can be. That's something that can be. And I will turn it over to Aaron, who will explain more about the why, how it can happen. So, thank you, Aaron.
Good evening, Council. Good evening, Mayor. It's a pleasure to be here with you all tonight. It's my first City Council meeting, and it's actually pretty exciting to see your faces. I'm new to town. I've been here for 5 years. For lifetime residents, that's very new. And what attracts me to this place is coming from a large city out west, just how much this community has been able to do when it works together. And I feel that in everything this community does to make it somewhere special where people want to come, want to spend time, and want to actually accomplish things and can do it. My position here is leader of the fundraising effort for the task force. It's a personal volunteer effort because I believe in the project and what it can do for the city and what it can do for the community. I'm also the treasurer of the Viroqua Chamber. I've been there for about 1.5 years now, and I care a great deal about seeing this community come together and doing my part to try to help out. On the Viroqua Chamber, the board voted to work towards becoming the anchor tenant for this building, which is huge. Gives us a real opportunity to staff the building and help bring to life all those services that you just saw offered on the previous slides. The funding or the anchor tenantship is contingent on us raising the funds, completing the project, and getting it move-in ready. And if we can do that, the chamber's with us in being that anchor tenant. The cost share is split out this way, and this is an estimate at this point. The chamber would run the day-to-day operations of the building, staffing it, being available to manage the facility. It is a city-owned building, so of course, the lawn care and maintenance would be done by the city. But the majority of the burden would be paid for by the chamber operating budget, 50%, which is about $8,000 a year at our current estimate. The Tourism Commission would pay 35%, or about $6,000 a year. And the city would pay about $2,000 a year, or that 15%, to keep this building operational year-round. Again, providing access to the bathrooms, public meeting space, and then the tourism center. Nate, if you would so kindly. So what does it look like to repurpose a building, especially one that was a bathhouse, into something usable? Well, here's a floor plan that was mocked up by one of the architects on the project. And I'll walk you through this starting at the center. The main intent and purpose is to have the visitor information center right when you walk in the doors through the arches so that community members and tourists alike can come in and find out about what Viroqua has to offer. The vision here is to have a staff member in that center desk that could answer and receive questions from the community or tourists when they come in, and then direct them to the meaningful signage or other opportunities that might be adorning the walls. When you go to the left, there'll be 2 offices in this diagram, some of which would be the chamber offices, and then an activity space or the meeting room for the community, large enough to host a fly tying class or host a reading session, with a door opening to the terrace on the south-facing side of the building, where people can meet up right outside by the trailhead when they're going to get ready to bike, ride, ATV, or move around the city. On the right-hand side, you'll see several offices, and then probably one of the most exciting parts, 2 bathrooms available to the public year-round. Nate, if you'd like to click through to the next, please. Here's our project budget. All in, through 3 different runs at the quotes, we have a budget of $730,000 to fully repurpose and make the building operational again, moving it from a 3-season room to a 4-season room for the full year. When we put pen to paper, we estimate that this will be about 30% cheaper to bring a welcome center to Viroqua than if we tore down the building, found a new site, and built a new building from the ground up, giving us real value and utility from the building that we have available today. The sources of funds for this project come from 3 places. First, the Community Development Investment Grant through the state of Wisconsin. That would be $250,000. To get that grant, we're currently in the process of raising funds from the community, totaling $242,000. And the city contribution rounds us out at $238,000. So far, we have raised $172,000 from the community, and are 71% complete with our community fundraising goal. These funds go to the uses mainly around construction cost, ensuring that the building is ready to go and becoming turnkey. In these construction costs, we have about a 20% contingency on those costs should they run up or down. One final point to mention. The linchpin in our fundraising is the community investment. Getting to that $242,000 is critical. And there, it allows us to apply for the CDI grant, which will give us the lion's share of the project budget that would see this through until the city then makes its final contribution. Nate? And one last piece on the timeline. We're in the milestone stage of raising funds, the most fun part of any project. And we have line of sight to having this completed this year in 2024. If we're able to do this successfully this year, especially in the summertime period, we would see opening the Viroqua Welcome Center by next year in 2025. How exciting would that be? Back to you, Cindy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Council.
Just to sum up, I realized I forgot to say my 3rd win. It's a win in the past, a win for the present. I don't think I said a win for the future, did I? It's going to outlast us all, this building, and it'll be a gift to our descendants, and join the historic Temple Theater and the Hotel Fortney, which I think is wonderful. In the past years, when the bathhouse has come up, the big thing that's always come up is, what are we going to use it for? Well, we've given you, I think, some really good reasons or things that it can be used for 4 things. The other thing that's come up, well, who's going to run it? What are the operating costs going to be? Well, I feel like we've answered that question tonight. Pardon me also. So I was thinking the other day of, in the 1980s, there was a lot of talk of tearing down the Temple Theater. Aren't we glad that didn't happen? In the past, not that long ago, there was talk about maybe having to tear down Hotel Fortney. Aren't we glad that didn't happen? Look what we got for that. Well, this building is going to be the same thing. We're going to look back and we're going to say, aren't we glad we didn't tear it down? It's another real gem. People are going to come to see that WPA building. So anyway, we feel it's a win-win-win. We thank you very much for your support in the past. We hope you'll continue in the present. Any questions anyone had? Yeah.
This is Steve. How does one pledge money or donate money to this project if they want to?
Oh, well, that's a good question. I happen to have some commitment forms with me tonight, but you can go Viroqua Visitor Center.info at viroquavisitorcenter.org. We'll get you the website. There's also the Facebook page, and there's also an Instagram site. So yeah, we'd love to have you check it out. You can give more details of what we've been talking about tonight.
This is Emma, and I haven't seen the original or the initial floor plan, but I'm just curious with an older building, how you're addressing things like accessibility, but also with the bathroom design. If we're inviting diverse members coming to our community, bathroom designs like the Viroqua Food Co-op are open to people of different genders. And so I'm curious what kind of considerations you've put into in creating a welcoming space to different people.
Yeah, the building would be ADA compliant for sure. And we do unisex, is that what they call it? Bathrooms? Yeah, we wouldn't that's the way to go. Yeah. Any other questions?
Well, thank you, Cindy and everybody.
Thank you.
All right. We will move on to item number 11, which is review and update on collateral assignment of development agreement for North Point project.
Okay, folks, this was in, let me see if I can bring down the PowerPoint. This was included as part of your packet. This is one of those items that came up sort of after the fact, but was expected. Essentially, as was written in the development agreement, they are working with different funding partners that would require them to be able to assign a development agreement as collateral for the loan that they are taking out, as well as the low income tax credits. And so it basically, because we need to often offer permission when our development agreement is sort of assigned to somebody else, we had to basically sign off on this for them to, sort of complete the funding circle. We actually signed this already and delivered it to them. The reason we felt comfortable doing that is essentially by signing the development agreement, you already authorized us to do so. So this is really just an update that this document was signed, and in Lori's sort of advocacy, if something down the road doesn't go straight and all of a sudden we're signing off on a payment, a TIF payment to some other group that's not North Point, we can recall this conversation and say, this is why that happened. So it's very, I guess, perfunctory. It's just, again, just for your information. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add to that, Lori.
I just wanted to make sure so that if for some reason North Point would default on their agreements and we end up having to pay, I think it's WIDA, the tipper or the payments that we would normally pay to North Point, that question doesn't come up later as to why are we paying them versus North Point. So that's kind of the point of bringing this up for you guys to know that you're aware of this collateral agreement that's out there.
Any questions from the group? Again, this is more just an FYI at this point.
So we don't need any action.
Correct.
All right. Any questions? No. We'll move on then to item number 12, which is discussion with possible action on expenditure obligation of ARPA funds.
Sure. So as part of, for the folks who remember, the ARPA funds were something that came out of COVID. The first sort of payment of it was delivered in 2020, the second, I think, in 2022. And essentially it was, and you can see my screen up here, for $460,000 was the amount we had. Over the course of the years, people have like, oh, what are we using ARPA on? What are we using ARPA on? And the sort of direction I've given this group, which was sort of backed up by our financial advisors and other people in the field, folks at the League of Municipalities, was like, just don't be out in a rush to spend it. There's going to be other money coming out. See how you can be successful with other grants. And then at the end of the day, use ARPA as sort of a last resort. Well, the reality we find ourselves in now is that 2024 was originally sort of the sunset year where the money had to be spent by. Since that point, the rules have sort of changed that essentially say you have to at least allocate it by 2024, but then spend it by 2026. We've talked about ARPA over the course of the budgeting cycle in 2020. You can see that there were 3 projects that were included as part of the 2024 budget. That was the website, which we've gone ahead and executed a contract, the police body cams, which actually the first billing came out, you'll see it in the bills tonight. And then the comprehensive plan, which Trina and I are starting to put together RFPs for review, and we're hopefully gonna, we plan to commit to a consultant on that by the end of this year. And then of course, we'll look at expending the money on them over the course of the following year. And that 50,000, as you can see, is just an estimate. There's 3 other projects that we've talked about that we would like to bring forward for your consideration. One is the corner of Main Street and Decker. In total, that project between demo, relocating the electrical box, hazardous mitigation, the engineering and the actual construction of moving the corner as well as the light pole, totals $422,000 and change. The majority of our plan is to spend, is to use part of it for TID 6 and then to allocate $200,000 from ARPA towards this project to make it happen. So that's one thing I would put up for your consideration. We've sort of talked about this on and off, but I think tonight what we'd be looking for is an official motion to say, yep, that seems like a good plan to me. The second project is the library's WTC room. We received a notification from the Viroqua Area Foundation that they would pledge $10,000 in total if the city also contributed $10,000 to the project. And as of right now, we're in for nothing. Trina and her crew have been busy raising money, and they approached the Viroqua Area Foundation. The Viroqua Area Foundation is essentially saying, hey, we'll double the contribution if the city also throws in money. I think it's a fairly small ask, and it would be good to contribute to that project. And then finally, the Parks and Rec program. The 2019 to 2024 capital improvement plan had always had an approved item in there for seal coating trails. Over the course of years, it just kind of got lost in the shuffle. There was a lot of projects going on. The parks had that big Park Bowl project, if you remember, in 2020. And then we were doing city halls, and we were doing police stations. Now we're doing fire stations. We're renovating Main Street. I mean, there's been a lot of big projects. And so sometimes a small project like seal coating sort of just gets lost in the shuffle. Long story short, the council approved this to get done. And speaking with Kale, it really should get done. And unfortunately, we just forgot to budget for it in this year's 2024 budget. And so using a small bit of ARPA funds to fund a capital project that was approved many years ago that we just simply kept forgetting about would seem like a good use of the money. And so in general, that's what you have in front of you here is those 6 projects totaling $404,000 in change, which would leave a remainder of about $56,000 that we could either, allocate further or maybe apply to a past project. Lori?
Can I bring up the fact that a lot of, in our conversations with department heads, the municipal code was one of the things that we were seriously wanting to consider for our ordinances. And I think that would be something that you might want to think about for some of that remaining money. I looked up, I believe it was about $4,500. And then there would probably be some ongoing costs, but that was the original estimate I believe we got from Stephanie. So I just wanted to put that plug out there too, because we didn't have that up there as well.
And one of the things that I, at least when I was putting together, found attractive about it is that it does try to sort of spread the money out a little bit. So you see a park project in there, you see a library project in there, you see a large street project in there, which Sarah will tell you we've been neglecting over the course of our capital improvement plan of doing street projects, although this isn't probably one she had in mind. And then police body cams, and then website and comprehensive plan sort of support everybody. So I'm curious as to what your thoughts are. Crystal, do you have something?
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I get distracted easily.
Thank you, Nate. Is there thoughts on any of this discussion? I don't know if, do you want to add a component for the muni code, or do we, what is it? Does everybody understand what Lori's talking about when she talks about the modernizing the code, basically? Very, very important, because it doesn't right now.
So yeah, there's a couple components to it, and it's a larger project than one would think. Number one, it basically changes the format so they're more accessible online. Stephanie and Georgia will tell you that they're more easily amended, and it tracks those amendments better than what we have now. Right now, Stephanie has to go in there, make the changes, and then they actually send it over to Sarah Granger, who then has to do some modifications to the PDF and then puts it back out on the website. And it's a little, it's working, but it's cumbersome. So that's part of it, but the other part of it is just general cleanup of our ordinances. I mean, there's still stuff in there. I think the joke is always there's a law in there about not being able to play ball in the street, right? And so like things like that. And so it's going to be some things that we have to go through and actually tidy it up quite a bit. And that's so the thought was always like, let's work on the website first because that's a bigger, kind of a bigger weakness of our government right now, and then move on to muni code. But yeah, I would agree with Lori. I don't see any reason with not allocating some dollars towards that project. Especially, you said 4,500.
That was the original estimate, but it's probably changed since then because it's been a good year and a half, I believe, since we got that one, or longer. So.
And also, I think part of my concern with that is if the scope of work is as large as I just articulated, is the dollar amount going to end up being a little bit more than that? So. I think
certainly don't think it's 56,000 though. Just so you know.
Sure. And what I guess what I would recommend is maybe we can engage them and have them give us a better, more realistic number based on our current point in time, and then see where it goes from there.
Make sure you use your microphone. Sorry.
Sorry about that. The last I remember us doing it was when we created these orange binders. And that was in the 70s, and we spent $20,000 to do that then. So it's not going to be cheap, but it needs to be done.
Agreed. So are you looking for us to approve this the way it is, and then maybe we can research that, bring it back and add that to the plan? If that's all right.
Would it be beneficial to have the municipal code internet ready before we have a website, or does that matter?
I think having it ready as soon as possible would be great and ideal. I just, based on the laundry list of stuff that I sort of mentioned at finance and committee, I just don't think it's feasible for our staff team to do that first without having to just basically something would have to give.
I think in its current state, it can be attached to the website, and then when it's redone, that's removed and this is put in its place.
Yeah, we asked the question. I guess maybe this is a better way to answer your question, Steve. When we asked the question to all the different vendors who came forward, they said it's essentially inserted into any website. I mean, it's nothing where you have to build the website around it.
It's basically a link to theirs. It's a web-based item, so it's not on our website.
Thank you.
All right. Any questions? Otherwise, maybe looking for a motion to approve this proposal.
Todd, I moved to approve the use of the ARPA funds to what's shown on the screen.
This is John, I would second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Pat Spade?
Aye.
Cindy? Aye. John?
Aye.
Crystal? Aye. Steve?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Andrew?
Aye.
Todd Kirking?
Aye.
And Emma?
Aye.
All right, thank you, everybody. We'll move on to item number 13, which is approval of the TAPCO annual preventative maintenance contract.
Well, this is a pretty standard contract. We've signed it year after year. But given our current procurement policy, I brought it forward to be approved for council. So TAPCO helps us maintain, I'm sharing. Okay, just wanted to make sure. TAPCO is the company that comes and helps us make sure all our traffic signals are operating properly. So we typically have an annual maintenance contract with them. And I scrolled down to the important part, at least for what I feel, is the $469 per intersection. So that's times 3. And that's basically them going through everything and making sure everything is running smoothly and checking in. We also in the contract have set hourly rates for when we need to call them in for other things that are outside of the annual maintenance contract, which is always very important. And we call them. This is certainly used, particularly when we have knockdowns, but we have all sorts of strange things that happen. And so this is important for us to have this contract. So just looking, it was approved at Public Works and looking for approval from council.
That's John, I'd approve. Move to approve.
AJ, I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Cindy,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Crystal,
Aye.
Steve.
Aye.
David.
Aye.
Andrew.
Aye.
Todd Kirking,
Aye.
Emma,
Aye.
and Todd Spath.
Aye.
All right. Item number 14 is approval of County Road NN paving bid.
Okay, so there's a series of 4 approvals coming up, and I just will give you the summary for all of them, and then we'll dive into the individual approvals. So we have about 130, well, not about, we have 135,000 for street maintenance, and we had an increase in budget, but we also combined our traditional seal coating budget to work on what we can do for the city streets. So we sat down in Public Works and hacked out what our plan is. And so we're looking at about 40,000 in Main Street repairs that will come with the Main Street Improvement Project this year. We'll tag it on just kind of like we did last year. County NN, so that's basically just off of Main Street to where our boundaries or our limits are for our maintenance requirements, which is like just by Strang plumbing and heating there. And so we did receive a TAP grant, which is an LRIP grant, which is from the DOT, to contribute to paying for the hot mix for this project. And we did just get approved to just have hot mix only. So our contribution would be about that 38,912 roughly. And that's the first approval we'll look at. And then Lincoln and Rogers are our plan for doing the microsurfacing. So we do a couple different kinds of seal coating. We kind of use it depending on what the use is, right? So there's chip seal, which is like an oil with rock on top. The microsurfacing looks more like an actual pavement. They just are applied a little bit differently. So we've got Lincoln that we're going to be working on, Rogers, and Prairie we'll talk about later, but that's not important because we don't need it for the approval. And then the other would be the Burn Site Road and doing a double seal. So that'll get us pretty darn close to our budget. So with that plan in mind, we had a number of bids that came in for various projects. And as mentioned, the County NN project. Oh, I was going to practice this name and I forgot to. I'm so bad at pronouncing it. Okay, so County NN, we had 2 bids come in, one from Matthew and one from Klashik, I think is how you pronounce it. And it's obvious who the low bidder was, 53,375. And we've used Matthew over and over again. They're certainly a solid consultant or contractor to use. So look what I'm looking for approval for County NN.
Cindy, I'll make a motion. We approve County Road double N paving bid with Matthew.
Todd, I'll second it.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any questions? Roll call, please.
John,
Aye.
Crystal,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
David.
Aye.
Andrew.
Aye.
Todd Kirking,
Aye.
Emma,
Aye.
Todd Spade,
Aye.
and Cindy.
Aye.
All right. Item number 15, approval of seal coat and general asphalt paving bids.
Okay, well, I'm going to continue on the asphalt path since that's where we are currently. So every year we bid out what I call general asphalt bid. So we get for all of the things that are listed on that left-hand column, we get a proposal for 1 for budgeting purposes, 2 because patching is such a big thing for us, right? Every time we have a water service leak or whatnot, when we have to dig into the asphalt, we're looking at doing patching and also paving streets. So I can use these numbers if we need to do any paving that we haven't currently planned. So as the sort of orangish column here was what we looked at last year, just as a reference. I would say this is probably the first time the prices have actually stabilized on us. Their chip just have gone up and up and up over the last number of years. So that's good news. And you can see also that there was two firms that bid on it, Matthew and Klashik. I don't know how to pronounce it. And as you can see, they go to what they know how to do, right? So Matthew ends up doing larger projects, which is why you see their smaller patching bids being higher, because it's just a larger mobilization. Whereas Klashik does that. That's like a smaller outfit. So that's what the yellow highlight is that basically for all things multi-use path, alleys, streets, wedging of streets would go to Matthew, and all the patching would go to Klashik. So that's what we're looking for approval on. And again, this is just when we come up and we need this to be done.
Thank you, sir.
And also proof from Public Works.
This is Steve. I make the motion. We approve Matthew for the multi-use paths, asphalt alley paving, and the streets, and then go with Klashik with the patching.
ZGL second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Crystal,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
David,
Aye.
Andrew,
Aye.
Todd Kirking,
Aye.
Emma,
Aye.
Todd Spade,
Aye.
Cindy,
Aye.
and John.
Aye.
All right,
right.
so we're not done that agenda item yet.
We're not done with that
three
one.
more motions to make. Sorry. Okay, so as we talked about that micro surfacing, that's what looks more like an actual like repaving. Sorry, I'm trying to zoom in for you here. We had bids come forward, and we had two different firms come forward, Struck and Irwin Paving and Farner. Both are, well versed in this in the industry. It was a little hard to decipher. Farner decided that they did not need to do the pre-treatment of the road. So they do like spray patching and crack sealing. They felt like the roads were in good enough condition not to, so they did not include it in the bid. Whereas Struck and Irwin, they highly recommend it, and they put it in their bids. We have always used the pre-treatments or the spray patching before we've done our micro surfacing, and Struck and Irwin says that it will provide a better long-term product because the micro surfacing does do reflective cracking. And so you will see cracks, but then if the road is treated underneath it will just stay together better. So normally I would say that in both cases, we should have the prep work done, but Lincoln Street is that block between Decker and Court Street. And we are hoping after Center Street that the next large project we can do is that part. And so that is why I'm not recommending doing the prep on Lincoln. I think that the micro surfacing like we did in front of the post office temporarily will get us through as far as we need. And there's no use in spending that extra $26,990, but for Rogers, I would say that we'd need to do that. So they ended up being the low bid, given that their base bids comparably were lower. And we're looking at approving Lincoln just for the micro surfacing, Rogers for the prep work, and also the micro surfacing. And it would come to $25,691.
Thank you.
Todd, I move to approve the micro surfacing bids.
Motion, is there a second?
Steve, I'll second.
I have to have a little bit more specific in your, if you're gonna just, you went into Lincoln, Rogers Prep, and Rogers Avenue for a total of $25,691. Is that what you wanting in?
Correct.
Okay, so Todd,
Okay.
I don't know if you want to amend yours, but that all has to be in there with your total for that's where we had confusion at Public Works, because that's why I was trying to put it all together into one item here so that we didn't have all that confusion when we did the agenda. But so you want to approve Lincoln Street,
Correct.
Roger Prep,
Rogers Avenue.
Rogers Avenue,
$25,691.
$26.91.
Yeah.
25,691.
And that
Okay.
was from Struck and Irwin Paving.
From Struck and Irwin. Okay.
Is there a Roger and a Rogers? Is that just?
Oh, Rogers,
they're
sorry.
both just missing the S? Okay.
I missed the S.
So we've got a motion from Todd. Was there a second?
Is there anything else you need, or is that
No.
good? You got it?
And that was for seal coating, Sarah?
That was for microsurfacing.
Microsurface.
Steve, I still second.
All right. You got that?
Think so.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Steve,
Aye.
David.
Aye.
Andrew,
Aye.
Todd Kirking,
Aye.
Emma,
Aye.
Todd Spade,
Aye.
Cindy.
Aye.
John
Aye.
and Crystal.
Aye.
Is there more?
All right, last one under that agenda item. All right, so we did receive two different bids for the chip sealing, one from Scott and one from Farner. They also came in depending on how you looked at it and what combination different. So we originally had Prairie Wind Way in there. We are not going to do a seal on Prairie Wind Way or paving, so we're not accepting that bid. But what we are accepting is the bid to do the Burnside Road, which is Western Lewison and Eastern Lewison. That's the two halves of the road. So we accepted at Public Works to do both. So the entire Burnside Road and do a double seal. So that would be Scott Construction for $14,976.
Okay, Sarah, I'm confused again. So you're saying Lewison is the Burnside Road?
Correct.
Okay. And you want it called Lewison or Burnside Road?
Well,
That's
because there's other Lewisons in town. We always say Burnside Road, but it's actually not really a road in any case, which is where the confusion comes in. So you can, whichever you choose, it's right both ways.
so you were talking the top and the bottom?
Correct.
We were
doing
talking about this-
it in its entirety.
Okay.
Can I ask, what's the $12,418?
Yeah.
This is both?
So when we originally looked at it, the worst part of it is the western side. And so we had a double seal on that. And we asked for a bid price for a single seal for the eastern portion of it. But they said, really, you really should do a double seal on both. And we were just trying to be as economical as possible. But they're right. It will last way longer if we have a double seal on it.
Thank you.
No
Thank you.
problem.
You got what you need?
And is this
Not yet.
again chip sealing?
Correct.
Okay.
All right. We're looking for a motion.
As AJ, I'll make a motion to accept the chip sealing from Scott for the total of $14,976
For Burnside
for
Road.
Burnside Road.
This is Emma, and I'll second that motion.
All right. Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
David,
Aye.
Andrew,
Aye.
Todd Kirking,
Aye.
Emma,
Aye.
Todd Spade,
Aye.
Cindy,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Crystal,
Aye.
and Steve.
Aye.
All right. Item number 16, approval of seal coat bids for the walking paths.
Oh, I almost forgot. Do you want me to put something up for you? I have, yes. This is short of it.
Because I sent you the thing on Monday, so I don't know.
It should all be in the council packet, I believe.
No, it came later,
Oh,
so
I'm not sure.
Okay.
What's
I can
the,
just talk about it, or
neither you then,
I can't say I remember, but why don't you go ahead?
okay, let's turn this for you though. Sorry, things are in the way.
So this one's not gonna show the whole picture. I apologize. I got the information late to Nate.
This, is it this one?
No.
Right.
So this will show you the Struck and Irwin. They did quote at 23, $844. That is what we put in there today for in regards to ARPA funds. I guess my question or my recommendation though might be to go with Farner. There's two different. So like Sarah had mentioned, Struck and Irwin is micro seal. They did bid on it when we put it out there. Farner didn't bid on it because it's crack fill and seal coat, so it's a different. So that's why they didn't have a quote on this. In calling with them and talking them to last year, they provided a quote for seal coat and crack fill. So that came in at $28,703. So again, I know it all is in regards to the ARPA funds. But you'll see now on the screen that when in talking with Farner, they have the nature trail. So the nature trail is the backside of Eckhart Park that drops down to the Park Bowl. Struck and Irwin did not have that because their equipment could not get down through there. No bid or no quote has the gravel path. So, when you come down that hill and there's gravel still there, that is not in either of the bids either. So again, in regards to the ARPA funds with Nate had talked about the 23. If we could do that, that would be great. If we could get a little extra ARPA funds, the $28,700, because that also includes the parking lot. And again, I don't want to ask you guys for the parking lot because it was just trails. But like I said, in talking with Nate, that's a pretty good deal if we could get that parking lot down at the Park Bowl done as well. Looking at some of the quotes to just do the parking lots, about 10,000 or more. So essentially, we could do all the trails and the parking lot for 28,700. So the difference is $5,859 between the two quotes. And again, Farner is crack fill and seal coating the parking lot. So again, I just wanted to bring that to your attention and see what you guys decide on. Because again, I know it all depends on the ARPA funds. Nate, did I say that pretty good?
Thanks, Gil.
I know it's confusing.
Thoughts on, I mean,
ultimately it's this group's decision. Originally, Kale articulated well. I kind of said, well, it's just the trails that were approved as part of the CIP. But, if there was an opportunity for some cost efficiency by doing the parking lot at the same time versus having, 2 years from now, remobilize and do it. It seems like there's a little bit of a cost savings there. So you could handle it in a number of different ways. It's really to what the council fancy. I don't know if there's, as a third option, if it's, hey, the 22,000 or 23,000 from ARPA and the rest you cover by your maintenance budget, whatever that may be. I don't know what your maintenance budget would allow, but
I don't know if we can, unfortunately, do that because the agenda item is only for walking paths.
Oh,
sorry. Can we, is there time? It makes sense to do it. So can we pass by this and bring it back in 2 weeks and get it done right rather than doing it in two separate things, or is there time constraints?
I could check, but I know there's 15 days for the quotes, but I could check with
But does does that seem to make sense to everybody? Okay.
what happens if they say no? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think your mic's on, Kale.
Would it be worthwhile just to, at the very least, approve the walking trails to move forward and then
Sure, bring back the
if
addition
Farner,
of
if
that.
Farner is open to holding their bid to allow it to come back for possible approval, I mean, to them, it would be like, yep, if you want this extra money or shot at the extra work,
Sure.
you got to give it 2 weeks.
If that's all right with Kale, I'm fine to do it, whatever works best for you.
Yeah, I don't think they would. They've held it for pretty much a year. So, and they got to mobilize all their stuff anyway. So they would probably say that's fine. But like I said, I just got to check with them.
This is Emma. Is it possible that we, in the 2 weeks, we could also get like a requote on modernizing the city codes? That was also on one of the ARPA items that you brought up, the modernizing.
Modernizing what? I'm sorry.
Oh, we can't, that's not on the agenda, so
yeah.
I can't talk about that
Oh,
right now. Sorry.
Yep.
Just quick question. Do we know what the bid would be without the parking lot?
For Farner.
Right.
It's tough because when he did it last time, the parking lot was about 10 to 12 grand. And then he did this quote for me and he put it as 28. So it's hard to.
My question is, if we okay just the walking paths, like we don't know what they would charge us without
It's not
the,
broke out, I guess is your,
Yeah,
I mean, you don't have an itemized.
I'd hate to
He
pay
told
for
me-
something we're not getting.
Right.
If I remember correctly, it's because I asked him to just give me a quote without the parking lot. He said it's not worth it if we can't do the parking lot. So that's why he came so
Okay.
far down.
With that, I think we have to hold off and bring it back in 2 weeks. So can you reach out to them and see if, sorry, but I think that's the best way to go about it.
Then I guess while we're still talking about it, is that something that the maintenance budget could cut the?
Not this year. It couldn't.
Okay.
All right. All right. Well, sorry about that,
No,
but
thank
check
you.
on that and bring it back on the next council meeting and we can get it done. I think it's right to do it all at once. We just can't approve that tonight. So I apologize. I missed that.
Yep.
So, all right, we'll move on down to item number 17, which is approval of the CIPP sewer lining bids.
Okay. So this is for our sewer system. Instead of digging up a pipe that's somewhat still good integrally, but not sealed still, we can use a liner inside of the sewer pipe instead of like digging up the road to replace it. And we've used this quite often in the last 4 to 5 years. This year we asked for bids doing it in 2 different ways, one that's steam cured and one that's water cured. We have had some like odor incidents with it before, and we wanted to see if we could do it in a more environmentally friendly manner. So we had 2 bids come in, one from Vigi Sewer, which has been the company that's done work for us for the last 4 years. And then Agent Com, I think is how it's written. Which is another company that does a lot of the work, but they have not worked for us before. So those were the 2 bids that came in. The work is Abbey Lane from 56 up to where it meets with Williams. So as you can see, the bids come in differently with the different curing process. The water curing process is more difficult. It's about $3,000 or $10,000 to do the same project. So this would be this as compared to this. So it is obviously more expensive, but we feel like we would like to try this year, and we think that it would just be a better product for us in the end. So with the 2 bids, we only have a $50,000 budget. So our base bid was that Abbey addition. Our alternate was to add the easement between Willow and Maple Street. We will just have to do that next year. And so we're looking for approval of the base bid, which is 44,176 from Vigi Sewer. Water cured.
Cindy, I'll make the motion. Did you have? wanna
No,
say
I was
something?
just going to say thank you, Sarah.
Oh, okay, I'll make the motion. We picked the water cured busy sewer for 44,176.
This is Emma. I second that motion.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any questions?
Question.
Go ahead, David.
That's just one block. Broadway to Williams.
That's what I was just looking at.
Sort of. I mean, it's a
Is-
fairly long distance. Let me just double check here. I can
Oh,
tell
no,
you.
but it is just,
Yeah, it's 512 feet. So it's actually 3 manholes that it goes through because it
yeah, I know where it's at.
curves there.
It's
But
just-
yes,
just a
essentially
little-
it's one block.
Okay, all right. Good enough.
Go ahead. Are you got a question? No. Okay. Any other questions?
Did you,
Roll.
did you
Sorry.
explain that it would eliminate the odor problems? You said briefly, but
Yeah,
That's
so
why we use
with
water
the
here.
steam, when they put it in the ground, they take, it's a liner, they invert it. So it sits there with the resin in it and then they invert it and the steam goes through. And so the steam then escapes to the atmosphere and the curing compounds are highly odorous, right? They use a styrene compound and that's what we haven't really appreciated. Especially this being close to the school. And so the water carrying, while there still can be odor, it's not carrying it through the pipe like it would in the water cured version. We would like to further explore a UV version next year, but we're going to try to do the water cured this year.
yeah, that was the reason the Public Works went with a more expensive one.
Mhm.
In case you wanted.
All right. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Andrew,
Aye.
Todd Kirking,
All right.
Emma,
Aye.
Todd Spade,
Aye.
Cindy.
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Crystal,
Aye.
Steve.
Aye.
And David.
Aye.
All right. We'll move on to item number 18, which is possible closed session per Wisconsin statute 1985 1G. Conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved. And this is regarding City Hall.
Cindy, I'll make a motion. We go into closed session.
Got a motion by
Crystal, I'll second.
motion in a second. Roll call, please.
Todd Kirking,
Aye.
Emma,
Aye.
Todd Spade,
Aye.
Cindy.
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Crystal,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
David.
Aye.
And Andrew.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Brent, can you hear us okay?
I can, thanks.
We'll just need 1 second while we clear the public out and
Sure.
thanks.